Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I have new merch. Well, no, not really. I'm wearing my merch today, so cute little design by yours truly. I'll leave a link in the description below so that you can buy this bad boy for yourself. It's very cute if you are a cockatiel lover like myself here, which obviously you are because you clicked on this video. Not obligated to buy it obviously, but like, you know. So recently I asked you guys on both Instagram and YouTube any questions, any inquiries, anything you wanted to know about cockatiels. I had over 400 questions. I'm very overwhelmed. I couldn't believe it, honestly, and I am but I'm not going to be able to answer every single question, obviously. Most of the questions were questions that I've already answered in these cockatiel videos that I've already filmed, already made. They're sitting there with the answers that you guys need. So you should definitely go check out all these videos here if you have any questions that I haven't answered in this video, because okay, I've probably already answered it. I've got my little beepers over there. They're having a little snooze on my plant, which is completely bird safe. It's fine. So they're just gonna be chilling over there. Charlie's sleeping. She's so cute. But yeah, so today's video is just me answering some cockatiel questions that you guys really wanted to know. Whether it's general cockatiel questions or questions about Emma and Charlie, I'm here to answer them as best as I can. So obviously just before I start the video, I just want to note that I'm not a professional. I'm not an expert. I'm just a girl on the internet that dearly loves cockatiels and I have a passion for them. Anyway, let's just jump into the video. We have so much to get through. I'm sorry if you see me looking over here. It's just where all my notes are because I'm gonna need them for this video. So I'm sorry if you catch me looking over there. So one of the most common questions that you guys asked me on both Instagram and YouTube was, what's my favorite thing about owning a cockatiel and what's my least favorite thing about owning a cockatiel? I'm gonna start with the least favorite things, because get the worst over and done with. The poop. It's driving me insane. I have two favorite colors. It is white and it is beige, and those two colors do not mix well with bird poop. I'm constantly struggling with keeping my whites white. It's crazy. They poop on my bed, they poop on the floor, they poop on my shoulder, they poop in my hair. It's disgusting, but it is what it is when you own two little beepers. They're also clingy as heck. Like, I mean really clingy. Not right now, obviously they're happy and content over there, but in reality they are so clingy. If I don't give them attention within 0.5 seconds of waking up, they're gonna scream for the next 20 minutes. I'm not even kidding. They're also little thieves when it comes to food. They turn into seagulls. You know what I mean if you own a bird. My favorite things about owning cockatiels, I get to have these sweet little cuddly companions in my life that make me laugh, that make me smile, that make me cry. They are amazing. They're living creatures right there. There's two of them and they're all mine. I love that so much. They really become a part of the family, and I think that's what my favorite thing is about having a cockatiel. Also, when they're asleep, they look like little clouds. Oh my god. Emma. How do I convert my bird from a seed diet to a pellet diet? This is hard. Oh, good morning, Charlie. This is hard and does require a lot of persistence yet patience. In this video here, I did briefly touch on about cockatiel diets, so you should definitely go check that video out as well. So I might sound like I'm repeating myself a little bit here, so I'm sorry. An all-seed diet is obviously very unhealthy for a bird. It's fattening and it can cause a lot of health issues in the long run actually. So cockatiels can actually have minimal amounts of seeds in their diet, so you don't have to completely cut it out. They can still have it as a treat and they can still have it as like a little sprinkle over their meal, which is what I do. But you should talk to your bird vet as well about the diet requirements and the nutritional intake that your bird should be having, because it kind of depends on their weight as well. Before I quickly go to explain, I'll explain what I give my birds daily. So they will get some rainbow pellets and they'll get some natural pellets, and then I'll sprinkle a little bit of seed over the top, and then I'll also give them their favorite fruit or their favorite veggie to snack on throughout the day. One thing to note as well when you are transitioning your bird from seeds to pellets is to keep an eye on their weight. You can actually end up potentially starving your bird. It can happen, so it's really good to keep an eye on your bird's weight. There's a couple of ways to do this, like weighing your bird on a scale. I would definitely recommend talking to your vet at this point, because they can monitor your bird's weight throughout this process. So that's probably the better idea. So talk to your vet about that, please. But yeah, so here's a couple of different tips and tricks that might help you in transitioning your bird from seeds to pellets. Let's go. Experiment with different flavors, brands, and shapes of pellets. All birds are different. You just have to find out what your bird likes. Pretend to eat it. So say you have a pellet, pretend to eat the pellet, and your bird will think, I want some of that as well. It works. It sounds so stupid, but it really does work. They are companion animals, so every time they see their loved one eating something, they want to give it a go. They want to share. They want some of that. So it's It's always a good trick that I like to use. You can finely grind the pellets into a seed mix, and that way your birds can get an actual taste for it. Another way into that as well is if you grind up the pellets and add a little bit of water to it and then mix it in with the seed, that way they get more of a taste for the pellets. Though if you do that, you need to remove the wet stuff within the next couple of hours, or else it's going to start growing bacteria, a bit of mold. Like, you don't want that. So get rid of that within the next couple of hours. Even if your bird doesn't touch it, just get rid of it, try the next day. And then the last tip I'll give you for this little segment is to hand feed your bird. I hope those tricks helped. If not, there's plenty of information on the internet. Obviously, Live Love Birds is a good source, or Cockatiel Cottage is an amazing source as well that you should definitely be researching yourself. Now, another popular question I had, this one was insane. I swear every second person asks this. How do I bond with my bird? This is a tricky one because once again, every bird is different. They all have different personalities, different mindsets. They are a whole living thing that has emotions. What might work for one bird might not work for the other bird. So what might have worked for Emma and Charlie might not work for your bird at home. So keep that in mind. It's honestly the only key word here that you need to have is just patience. Please never force your bird into doing something it doesn't want to do, because that's just going to kill the trust. For example, a forceful movement might be grabbing your bird from the cage and putting it on your shoulder. 1, don't grab your bird, and 2, if it flies away or bites you, that is an amazing indication that you just need to stop what you're doing, take a step back, maybe try again tomorrow, because obviously your bird isn't in the mood. So for example, Emma, this little bean on my little plant, she actually took a couple of months to get used to me. When I first got her, she didn't want a bar of it. She wanted nothing to do with me. She could sit on my hand and maybe my shoulder, but she didn't want to be there. She'd fly off and call it a day. So I kind of worked towards a process of getting her used to sitting on my hand. If she was in her cage, I would just be like, step up, Emma. She'd step up on my hand, and then I would just kind of be like, hey, and then I'd put her back in the cage. That took a couple of days before she was comfortable enough to sit on this bad boy. Once she could comfortably sit on my shoulder, I eventually started getting her used to my hands, and I could eventually give her a scratch, and that took over a good 3-month progress. So it doesn't happen overnight, trust me. Charlie, on the other hand, this little bean, instantly I could scratch her, instantly I could cuddle her. She is an instant bird, and that is the ideal situation, but in reality you're probably going to get an Emma. So you just need to be ready. You just need to be patient but persistent, but never force your bird into something they don't want to do. Of course, there are so many other helpful videos and information as well on the internet that can help you in working with your bird to trust you and to bond with you. I also just want to quickly mention as well that if you don't have a bird that was hand tamed or hand raised or socialized with humans as a baby, then they're not going to trust you. A bird that wasn't brought up by a human is going to be scared, it's going to be timid, it's going to be flighty, and it won't have any trust. So if you have a bird that's like that, I'm sorry, it's going to take way more effort and way more time than a regular. All in all, just spend as much time as you can with your baby, and the trust will honestly build from there. It's like a friendship. Like, you're not gonna be friends with someone straight away. You gotta build that friendship and you gotta build that trust. Another question that I had from you guys was traveling. How do I travel with my birds? So if you don't know or you don't watch me regularly, I have actually traveled with my birds. I don't live at home anymore, so I've obviously traveled with them moving out of home. That was a 3.5-hour drive. I honestly just think of it as a girl's road trip. Think of it as fun and think of it as lightful, and your birds are going to enjoy it either way. Some birds can get motion sick or car sick, so you do have to do your own research on that, because honestly, I don't know. I've never had to experience a bird with car sickness, but it is something to be mindful of and it can happen. So let's go through some tips that I go through, and hopefully it might help you as well. So when I go traveling with my birds, whether I take them to the vet or whether I was moving out of home, I had this, not small, it's probably a nice big size pet carrier. Put a towel in the bottom so it's a bit elevated so they can get up on it and have a look out the window. I've also popped in some sticks in there as well so they can get up on the sticks and kind of just perch there if they want to. I put in some food and some water for them. And then lastly, I don't normally do this because they're just traveling short distances, but on the long distance travels, I would put in a familiar or favorite toy. So when I was traveling the 3.5 distance with my birds, I would stop every hour just to make sure they're getting food, having some water, just to give them some fresh air, open the windows for a minute kind of thing. I turn on some music, I sing to them. Sometimes they sing as well, it's actually really funny. I talk to them, I tell them about the scenery outside, I tell them where we're going, what we're doing. You know, just talk to your bird. Think of them as a passenger. But yeah, my birds love traveling, they love looking out the window, they love hearing the music, they love hearing me talk. It's a really great experience, so you just have to really make them comfortable. Just have a good time, honestly. It's amazing. So I'm just going to quickly do a couple more questions and I'm going to call it a day, because I low-key really need to pee, and it's, yeah. What are some sick symptoms of a bird? So a couple of symptoms that you should look out for in a bird. Some of the most obvious ones are their dropping. So if their poo is looking a bit abnormal, you should keep an eye on them. I know on the Cockatiel Cottage website that they have a whole list and pictures as well if you're into that. It gives a nice description of what the poo can look like and what you should look out for disease-wise or sickness-wise. Their poo is honestly like the biggest indication on whether to tell if they're sick or not. Their diet can actually change the color of their poo as well, so you have to be mindful of that. If your bird is sick, is that they'll be at the bottom of the cage. I don't mean at the bottom of the cage as in they're walking around, they're playing with everything, you know, they're ripping up the paper, you know, they're squawking, having a great time. I mean, they're at the bottom of the cage, they're fluffed up and they're not moving. They're my main two kind of symptoms to look out for, but other than that, birds are actually really good at hiding their symptoms, and sometimes you don't even know until it's too late. So I would honestly keep up to date with your regular vet checkups. I think I give my birds a regular checkup every 6 months-ish, or if I have any concerns, I take them to the vet the next day. What is the average cost of owning a cockatiel? Someone asked for this like annually, and I don't actually know what I spend on my birds yearly. So this seed is around $12, and then their rainbow pellets are about $15. The natural pellets are about $20, so that's that there. Each toy is about $15 to $30, so I think my cage was about $350. I honestly can't remember. The little food catcher that I have, the little plastic box thing that you see on my cage, that was $50. And then when I go to the vet for like a checkup or a consultation, it ranges. Sometimes it's about $70 or it's 120-ish. How old are Emma and Charlie? So Charlie's 3, Emma is 4. Do you want another cockatiel? I am very happy with 2. Look at those little beans. So I think I'm gonna leave it there because I think I hope that I've answered all your questions from today. I'm really sorry if I didn't get a chance to answer your question. There were heaps. I'm still overwhelmed by it, and I'm still getting questions right now. One just popped up. Hey little bean. Oh, big stretch. All right, so I'll see you guys in my next video. So ciao for now.